What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video here on the Boo Bros. Rob, how you doing today?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Today we have me and Rob representing Howling Hour Nights of Horror. We're here to talk about an event we went to this past weekend called Reign of Terror, halfway to Halloween. It was, to say the least, a really good event. Really solid event. We're going to cover some rooms that we went through. We're going to give you as much details as possible. They are a no filming event, and we highly respect that. I actually kind of enjoyed that because I typically like to, I love filming the maze walkthroughs for everyone on whatever you watch, either Nights of Horror, Howling Hour, Boo Bros, wherever you watch maze walkthroughs, or just online in general. But I normally love filming that stuff. I like filming, but it is nice every now and then to put down the camera and just kind of enjoy it. And I'm glad Reign of Terror highly enforces this rule. A really fun time. I got some funny stories I want to tell. I went with some awesome people. I didn't know Logan and Rob were going to be at the event for Saturday. I would have tried to buy a ticket for Saturday to go on one of their time slots, but it's okay. Manny from Omni Adventures hooked it up Friday, Thursday. Let me know last minute. I feel bad, Rob. It's like every time we're going to do something, I always bail on you, and I really do feel bad about that.
No. When you text me and you told me where you're going, I was like, dude, don't even worry. Trust me, we're gonna go see a lot of movies together. So Reign of Terror comes around, once in a while. So I was just like, dude, go, because I'm going the next night. Just go.
Yeah. And I'm glad I went, because now we get to do this video.
Yes.
If Logan was here from Nights of Horror, he would have joined us, and it would have been kind of like a special appearance for Boo Bros. But yeah, I mean, Reign of Terror, man. Halfway to Halloween, the event was called. Obviously, we are at the halfway point until Halloween, and this event couldn't have come at a better time. It was good for one to go back into walkthroughs. I did two over the 2020 haunt season, two home haunts, Corona Haunt and the Drex Society. Both solid mazes, gave me my walkthrough haunt fix. But it was nice to kind of go back and see actors mixed with a lot of animatronics and whatnot in a maze. And if anyone knows Reign of Terror is pretty much a giant kind of space that they get out, and it's pretty much like 4 or 5 mazes put into one. It's about a 20 to 25 minute walkthrough, and it's a fun time, and it doesn't even feel that long. You're having so much fun. The scenes are amazing. You're getting scared. You're laughing. You're having a good time. That it just flies by. You're like, once it's over, you're like, oh, that's it. Like, I want more. Like that's how you know they'll get you back for more. So I'm going to stop talking for a little bit. Rob, tell me your experience at Reign of Terror, man.
Well, here's the thing. This was my first time going, and from you, from others, I've heard nothing but amazing, great things about the events that they throw. And so I was pumped to go. I did go alone. I couldn't drag my wife to this. She was just like, I'm not going.
She's like, I already have to go to like Knott's and Hollywood. Yeah, that's good enough for me for 1 year.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not doing one of these, not in the big theme park places. She's like, this seems a little too scary for me. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go alone. So I went, and just the overall environment, because I got there early enough where I could watch them set up a little bit, because first time, I didn't know how it was gonna be. So I watched them set up a little bit, and I could see the fog coming out of the door, and I could smell it. And I was like, oh man, like this is just like, had goosebumps, and I was like, man, this is awesome. That's all I could say is this was awesome. They did a really good job as far as security and social distancing, making sure, even in the maze, just kind of the markers, and, even I would say even people like, me and others walking in, kind of policing ourselves to make sure, like, if it got backed up a little, like, okay, we stood, a little further away from the people in front of us. So that was really cool. If you're ever worried about that kind of stuff, they do a good job of letting you know, like, hey, this is what's up. And again, to what you were saying about not recording. So I had a friend, Tanner, actually hit me up, and he, was like, hey, just so you know, they don't, allow recording. So I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Like, so I didn't have to worry about that. So, and it was almost, again, same thing as you. I love recording, man. Like, give me a camera and I'll record everything. But it was just like a change of pace where it was like, I just get to go in here and not worry about, like, let me get this angle, let me get that angle. It was just like, it was so cool. I enjoyed it. I soaked it all up. And the props, the rooms, I mean, these are on a level with huge theme parks. So I mean, it was just, to me, I was just blown away being it my first time there.
Right. Reign of Terror, obviously located in Thousand Oaks, California. It was a bit of a drive, but it was so worth the drive. I think I drove an hour to get there, but it was so worth it. And I want to go touch base back a little bit on when you talked about the whole social distancing and whatnot.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people, I think that's what a lot of people's biggest concern is how they're going to socially distant. How do you do a haunt with social distance and whatnot? And I'm 100% with you on that. I really, you know, the groups that I went with a group of a total of 5 of us. And so we were all kind of walking through, but then when there was stops in the maze, everyone behind us was 6 feet, everyone in front of us was in 6 feet. Like, they were really enforcing it, and a lot of people kind of logistically knew what to do and you know, when to do it. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I mean, it really made me feel safe. All the performers, even though they were masks, they still gave it their all, and they still even got some good scares on me, and just having fun. I mean, masks were enforced, so I really, you know, I felt safe. Even though I have the vaccine, I felt safe, and it was just a fun experience. And again, if I can get a haunt fix in the middle, you know, before October, September, like, I'm gonna take advantage of that. You know, I want to get that haunt fix, but I mean, it's so good, dude, and I had a good time. I mean, obviously, waiting in line even was fun. I mean, they were playing clips from, like, horror movies. They had, like, compilations of, like, their past events, and they were playing some, like, Slayer. They were playing some, like, freaking, you know, Disturbed. They were playing a bunch of metal just to get you pumped. Like, they played Raining Blood, and me and everyone in my group were just headbanging, and, you know, obviously me starting the headbanging, you know, I'm a big Slayer fan, so that was a big fun. But when I heard Raining Blood, I'm like, oh, dude, I mean, how do you not open the pit right here? It's like, you got to start it. But
and you had the space to do it.
Yeah,
I mean.
you do. It's like that whole line area and that asphalt right there. It's good. I was about like, hey, scare actors, let's start a pit going, you know. But, you know, it's really good. I mean, it's really well organized. They had time slots, so they only let a certain amount of people in per time slot. And even waiting in line wasn't too long. I think we waited like 15 to 20 minutes, but we did arrive at least 30 minutes before our showtime. So by the time we got in, it was roughly around 10:35, 10:40. So we had a time slot for 10:30, which isn't really too bad waiting around. You know, I mean, the restrooms are right there. So right before you enter, you can hit the restroom and then enter. So that whole location couldn't be more perfect. Even if you want to arrive a little early, they have spots for you to grab something to eat. There's a Chick-fil-A in the area. There's like a Panera Bread. There's like a Buca de Beppo. There's like a bunch of like little restaurants and things. So even if you wanted to get there a little early to eat something, you can. And then obviously before you go in, the restrooms are right there. The location couldn't have been more perfect. Now let's dive into the inside of the event. That's what people are probably watching this video for. They want to hear all about it. When you first walk in, obviously it's prison themed. You're walking down a gate down to your line. There's 2 lines. You have the general admission, and then you have the fast pass line. And when you walk in, you go straight to you wait in line. It's already all decorated. It looks cool. They're saying some rules. You know, they're telling everything, but it's really cool. They got like a thunderstorm going on. It's supposed to be raining inside. Beautiful scenes, man. Beautiful scenic wise. It looked amazing. It was beautiful, and I couldn't have been more happy with it. And then going into the first, like, kind of the pre-room to you know, give you the directions, like, of what not to do in the maze, you know, follow the rules, everything. Even that was cool. It kind of felt like going into prison, and then you enter into the first scene, which is a prison and an insane asylum, which is really cool. I have to say, scenic-wise, this maze is outstanding. They don't have one black wall one bit. They fill every room to the max with you know, with just decorations, and it's just like it fits the appropriate setting. The transitions to each different setting are amazing. The scare actors were great, and the mixture of scare actors with animatronics worked so well with this maze. Like, I honestly had no issues with this maze whatsoever. And I really enjoyed that first kind of scenic of the prison with the insane asylum. It kind of transitions from going into the prison to the insane asylum, which I really liked. Those aesthetics were it felt great. It actually felt like you were in a prison, and then when you went to the insane asylum, you know, the inmates are running the asylum, so you felt that presence of like the craziness in there and everything. What did you think about these first 2 rooms, man?
Well, I'm just gonna, I guess, echo what you're saying is they had a lot of stuff in every room, and it didn't feel like clutter, or it didn't feel like it was there just to fill a spot each. each decoration, each kind of, you know, animatronic was placed there with a purpose and intent, and I liked it. And you know, when you know, you're talking about that prison scene, it just gave me it almost gave me, and you know, there was no zombies in that area specifically, but it just gave me like Walking Dead vibes when you know, they're in the prison. And just when I remember seeing that at HHN, it just, I was like, oh wow, this is cool. You know, they kind of got the tower up there and you're walking through. And it was funny because when I walked in, I got the immediate pass, so I went in, and you know, the lady was kind of talking to me. She's like, you're here alone? And I was just like, yeah. She's like, oh, you know, brave soul kind of thing. And she's like, all right, you know, right in here. And I went into the room, you know, kind of the holding area, and I didn't know what to do because I'd never been there before. I tried to like push the door a little bit, and I was like, I'm not supposed to touch anything, but what do I do? And so I just kind of sat there and waited for the video to play. I didn't know the video was going to play. So I was just confused, and I didn't want to go back and be like, hey, what do I do?
So I was, by the way.
Yeah. So I was just like, I was literally there just like kind of looking around. And I'm just like, what do I do? And then so eventually the video played and you got to go in, and the right off the bat, I was just like, you go in, and I felt super claustrophobic, and in a good way, not anything where I you know, it was just like in horror style. I felt super claustrophobic. You kind of go in this little area, and it's just like you feel the hallway and the room kind of enclosing on you. And I thought they did that awesome. It was excellent. The insane asylum, just overall everything. I mean, I could literally sit here and go for like an hour of just detail by detail of oh, I thought this was cool. I thought that was cool. But I will say this one thing that's just stood out to me the most, because this was my first time there, the way they transition between I would say, you know, kind of section to section. They do a great job. Like at no point was I confused about where I was. I knew like, okay, I'm in a prison right now, and then I'm in an insane asylum, and so on and so forth. With each section of the maze, I was just like, okay, I know where I'm at, and this is cool. I like the way they're doing the transitions. And once again, like you said, no space felt empty. It felt everything was being utilized to the fullest.
Right. And let's kind of break down the rooms real quick. We had of course, the prison was the opening scene, and went straight into the insane asylum, which I thought was a great transition. From there, you had, I believe, was it the possession, kind of a haunted house kind of feel vibe to it?
Yes.
From there, you kind of went to like a swamp. And then from the swamp, you kind of went to like an alien kind of feel, I believe. And then from there, it was the clowns. And then that kind of ended it right there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there was like a fun, I think there was like a fun, like almost like a fun house in there too, right?
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm associating with clowns.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was really good. I really liked it. So obviously you go from the prison to the insane asylum. You know, the inmates are running the asylum. People are killing each other. Really reminded me of, obviously I'm referencing, I'm a guy, obviously, with watching horror and watching a lot of stuff. I like to reference a lot of things and be like, oh, okay, they probably got the idea from this to this, you know, this is giving me this vibes. The prison, much like you, was giving me Walking Dead vibes, without zombies. So that was really cool. The insane asylum, I don't know if you've ever played this game, but there's a game called Outlast. That's a really scary horror first-person game where you don't fight. You just got to kind of run, hide, and just try to escape.
That sounds scary.
Yeah,
sounds scary.
It's terrifying, but it's one of the best horror games ever made. Outlast 1, it takes place inside of an insane asylum. That kind of gave me that vibes, walking through that, watching everyone kind of run the asylum, all the inmates, and then everyone killing everyone. It kind of gave me Outlast vibes, and I really enjoyed that scene of the part. Just kind of watching, you know, them either brutally murder someone on a table, the doctors trying to figure stuff out. Just everything was really cool. I have to say, I went with Omni Adventures, which is Manny and Marlin. I went with Theme Park Takeover, which is Tanner. And I went with Entertainment Connection, which is Nico. And Nico and Tanner were some of the funny, and Marlene were some of the funniest reactions that we got in the maze, especially because I was in the middle of everyone. So it was behind me was Manny. Manny was in the very back. Then it was Marlon. And then it was me. And then in front of me was Tanner. And then Nico. So Nico was in the front. It was some of the funniest reactions just to see Tanner just cuss and yell. It was funny. Marlene, she gets really scared easy too. It was funny to watch her get scared. Nico at one point actually dropped to the floor because there was one scare where the guy raises his hand down into the thing. He actually dropped to the floor and crawled out of the room and got back up. And Tanner was just screaming. It was by far the funniest thing. I wish I could have recorded that, or at least like now I know for haunt season when I see them is like I'm gonna get the GoPro with the face cam.
You gotta follow them.
Yeah, I get the GoPro with the face cam on each one and just kind of see. It ain't gonna be a try not to get scared challenge. It's how many times can we get scared challenge. But it was some of the funniest things. I mean, just going through with them and Tanner just cussing up a storm and him getting scared. It was so funny. I can't wait to go to haunt season with those two. All those people actually. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But just the transition from, of course, the insane asylum to now you have this like kind of possessed house. It kind of gave me like Exorcist, Conjuring vibes. You know what I mean? Like you walked in and you kind of see. I got a little poltergeist there too. But you walk in and you see this front room and there's people on the floor. There's this big fat guy laying on the couch. Kind of reminded me on my days off. That's how I like to just chill on the couch and just watch TV.
I felt the same way.
You felt the same way, right?
Felt the same way.
Shirts off. It's just the shorts on. You're just chilling on the couch, vibing.
I was like, that guy's living the life right there.
You're like, that's how we live. It's just us. But you walk through that, and then you see like someone jump out, and then obviously you're going through a bunch of different things, and even it ends up at one point where you're in this room with this girl on the bed. You see crosses everywhere. That was also giving me some mean Conjuring 2 vibes. What'd you think about this room, man?
Well, here's the thing, and as with you, we've seen so many horror things and movies and all that stuff, TV shows. I do reference a lot of stuff. I'm like, this reminds me of this reminds me of that. When we started to go through this kind of area, it definitely gave me like trick or treat vibes from Not Scary Farm. And just going through there, like you said, also with the Conjuring, just going through the bedroom with the crosses on the wall. But yeah, it's super creepy. Once again, I could relate to the guy laying on the couch watching TV. That's me. Friday nights, Saturday.
After a long week of work, just chilling on the couch, watching some movies.
Yeah, just give me a soda and
most recently Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, there you go. So, but I really, again, it reminded me of these things, but in its own way, its own twist. And nothing, at no point did it ever feel like, oh, they're copying this or this is from this. It reminded me of it. And for me, for whatever reason, I like creepy old houses.
Right.
I one day want to live in a creepy old house. Hopefully,
okay, you're insane.
Yeah, hopefully it's not possessed with anything. It just happens to be old, but so for me, like stuff like that, I was like, okay, this is cool. I like the way, just when you walked in, the kind of the trees and everything and the wood and all that stuff. It's just like, okay, this is really cool. And again, it brings you back to detail in things like they didn't just throw up any kind of, oh, well, let's just put this up there. It looks like a house. You could tell like, okay, this was picked out because it looks like this or it has this vibe to it. So that whole area, that whole scene, I liked it. It creeped me out. I think it's because that kind of stuff creeps me out the most. So that's what I'm kind of drawn to as far as like stuff that typically will scare me. But overall, that whole kind of area, I liked it. I was on edge the whole time because there are some scares in there that I was not expecting. So I was just like kind of like making sure I look the corners and going by yourself. Here's the thing is you got to go with some people, and I typically bring my wife and my wife is
I'm with you.
Yeah. My wife is just like over the top when she gets scared, and they typically kind of focus on her because, she is so like, she gets scared very easily, and I just get to watch it. But I was in there by myself and it is a whole, like,
the tables have turned.
Yes. I don't get, at least I thought I didn't get scared. And then walking through this maze alone, and because it was so long, I was just like, okay, like I got scared once and I was just like, all right, I know what's going on. So I was keeping my head on a swivel. This section scared me the most because like I said, creepy old houses, they do it to me. So, but I really enjoyed this section of the maze. I thought it was really cool, very well done, and very detailed.
Right. You know, and it's funny. I'm gonna do a little throwback to Haunt Season 2020. Anthony, my wife, not Anthony, not Anthony, my wife and Anthony.
Yeah.
Little throwback to 2020
Yeah.
Haunt Season. No, but it was really cool to see kind of all that, the creepiness, you know, the lighting and everything just came out amazing. And now, you know, we transitioned from the possessed house to the swamp area. Was a very good, well-detailed area. I mean, you had kind of like that bayou kind of feel.
Right.
You know, you felt like you were kind of in a swamp, and just, you know, you had some ghillie suit guys there. You had some weird, like, plant creatures. It was just nuts to go through and see all that. What were your thoughts on the swamp section?
I enjoyed it. Again, I thought of other mazes kind of, you know, because you just mentioned like the bayou, but there were certain areas, even I think that was a part with like the bridge, right? They kind of have so like that I thought was really cool, and just like it kind of it threw a twist on the environment, because you're used to, for me, I was walking through it, and you know, and then you get to this kind of, and it was foggy in there, and you kind of get to this area where your footing's unstable. So I was just like, oh, like what like what's going on? And but you know, again, and I was talking to one of the workers there afterwards, after I came out of the maze, and that just because you said that, and it reminded me of that, I was saying like I could see the detail in the lighting, like just little things like how stuff is lit up and, you know, dim in areas, and kind of focuses your attention over here with certain lighting, and then they do something over here, and it's just it's smart. It's super smart, and I can't give enough credit to these creators who just, their mind is just on a whole other level when it comes to like just you know, being creative. And again, that section was really cool. Very, the fog, you know, just smelling that fog, man. Yeah, dude. I was just like, I was sucking it in. I was just like, yeah, this is haunt right here. So I enjoyed that section. The only thing is, I wish it was a little longer, but I enjoyed you know, what we got in there.
Right. I have to mention, obviously, in that section, a good, nice little scare tactic that was used in the cookbook. Our favorite, you know, the cookbook. We have the swamp laser effect, which is one of my favorite effects, by the way.
Yeah.
I first saw that in the depths and fell in love with it. And then, like, the following year, or that same year, I saw it at LA Haunted Hayride when they accomplished it with the Midnight Falls River effect, which was phenomenal. But you know, that's a cookbook classic right there. John Cook, if you're watching, yes, we love you. And
yes, we do.
It's, you know, the cookbook. That's all because of you. You're the author. You're the illustrator. We're just the publishers. But no, it was a good effect. And, you know, Tanner was telling me, obviously, with social distance and with, you know, the times we're in right now, there's usually characters that will pop up and scare you and everything. But I felt like even with, you know, the restrictions and whatnot, there was a good mixture of both animatronics and scare actors. Like, no room felt empty. Like, obviously there was rooms where you can tell, like, oh, maybe a scare actor can go here. It would have been cool. But for me, it made it even more scary, because you're expecting maybe a scare actor to come out, but at the same time you're like, oh wait, no, probably not. And then it's like an animatronic that jumps out, and then like when you expect an animatronic to jump out, it's actually a scare actor. So it was a good little flip-flop kind of thing walking through that. Going from obviously the swamp area to now the alien area, which was, you know, anyone knows me, I hate face huggers, for one. But they didn't have any face huggers, thankfully. But they had that cool giant alien animatronic. I felt like this was a room that was also kind of short, but it was still very good scenic-wise. I would have loved to see that a little extended, a little bit longer, but it was still, nonetheless, it got the point across. It got the storyline that it needed to tell across. This was really cool. What'd you think about the alien room?
Well, again, you know, it was short, but you know, I felt it not so much served its purpose, but you always, an alien kind of scare area is always cool. It's always, you know, you're always going to get those alien references, but I don't think anything really reminded me of that. I just thought it was a cool kind of sci-fi area. But yes, I mean, the thing that stood out to me the most was the big scare alien towards the end that actually startled me and got me to move a few feet away from it, because I didn't know what it was. And then I seen it and I was just like, I audibly said, that's creepy. and then walked away out of the room.
Right.
So, but it was a good section. Again, another section I feel like I'm not complaining at all. I would have liked to have seen more of it.
Right.
But what we did get was good.
Right. Obviously, there was also a section in there. I can't leave this out because it gave me Mean House of 1,000 Corpses vibes. There was that creepy old house again. It was a whole different house compared to the possession house, but there was a time when you walked through a house. It kind of gave me some Mean House of 1,000 Corpses vibes, which is another fantastic film, another horror film that I love. Going through this scene, obviously this took you through a whole kind of, this was kind of a mash between House of 1,000 Corpses and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes.
Because you had the whole house scene, then you had a green room scene, obviously with the plants and whatnot, and then you had kind of like an outdoor scene with like a truck crash into the wall, which kind of transition to a zombie apocalypse scene, which I thought was perfect. What did you think overall of this scene? I mean, obviously you got some Texas Chainsaw Massacre in there, you got some House of 1,000 Corpses, you had ghillie suits in the green room, you had, of course, the stereotypical hillbilly kind of horror reference in there. What'd you think of all that?
Well, this whole section was really cool just because it does remind you of so many iconic movies, characters. But I would say the stuff that I really liked the most was that truck. When you're walking by the truck scene, the scare that they kind of do there was really cool because they used the truck and it startled me. Also, the green room. I really liked the green room. I don't know, for whatever reason, I was walking through there and I was just like, this is really cool. Like nothing really scary happened in there for me, but just the way the way it was decorated, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I like this. But yeah, you get bodies, you get, cut up pieces of stuff. And once again, detailed in a very different way. Not so much about the wooding on the wall, but this is more about the gore and how it filled each room. Again, like you just said you get the Texas Chainsaw kind of reminders in there, but just in a different way, a different spin on it. I thought it was really cool. This was probably maybe I'm going to say my second kind of favorite area to walk through. So I really did enjoy it.
Right. And obviously from there, we go into the zombie apocalypse scene. Obviously, this is a kind of horror trope that's been around in the haunt community for years and years to come, and Walking Dead honestly boosted that when it came to Horror Nights and whatnot. But they did their own take on the zombie vibe, and I really actually dug it because I am typically kind of a guy who now is more zombied out more than ever, except for Zack Snyder's next movie. What is it called? I think it's is it Army of the Dead? No,
Army of the Dead.
I am very much looking forward to that. That looks freaking amazing, and it's Zack Snyder, and anyone who knows me knows that I like Zack Snyder. But off topic. Anyway, but the zombie room was I think it was a new take on and their own original story, which I really liked of it. First, you see, of course, the crashed truck on the other side. When you're coming out of the house, you see the backside of it crash into the wall, and then you go around and you actually see it crash into the wall, which you see a guy that triggers off his scare of the horn, and he pops out, which is kind of the start of the zombie apocalypse. Seeing stuff like that kind of gave me also Last of Us and Resident Evil vibes, because if anyone's played the first Last of Us game, you start when the midst of the start of the zombie apocalypse, you have cars crashing into things. Same thing with Resident Evil, like Resident Evil 3. When you start, it's chaos in Raccoon City. Everybody's crashing into things. Nemesis is chasing you, all that fun stuff. So it was really cool to kind of see all of this come to life, seeing all this iconic stuff and everything. So I really enjoyed that, walking through the zombies to kind of see all the different areas they've infected, them coming at you, and even having the guy with the radiation thing going to each person and seeing if you have radiation on you, if you're going to be infected. That was really cool. What did you think about the zombie apocalypse part?
Okay, so I will say this, and I think I don't know if you not so much picked up on it, but I thought it was a smart way to keep the groups away from each other. That the radiation guy, it was because like I went through it twice, so I kind of noticed this. The radiation guy did a good job because he's scanning you and everything, and that's cool. But I also think he was also keeping groups away from each other that got too close. So I thought that was smart, and a smart way of kind of enforcing, not so much enforcing, but just kind of making sure groups weren't getting too close together. But
Right.
yes, this whole section, I like zombies. I'm not so much with you as far as like I'm zombied out, but I have my own, you like the Snyder zombies. I actually Black Summer is kind of got me into zombies again. So, I'm a fan of the zombie, any zombie movie, I'm going to watch it. So I did like this area, and it was not even, I don't even want to compare it to, that the popular zombies. Cause like you said, this was like their own kind of original take on the zombies. So I liked it. I thought it was cool. There and I just thinking about it, I thought this was cool because the scare actors weren't always like, banging stuff really loud or, banging on stuff or yelling really loud or, making noises. Sometimes they did subtle, the zombies, sometimes they did that and they were just in a perfect spot where you didn't know they were there, and it catches you off guard, because it caught me off guard when they did it to me. And I was like, okay, like that, it's really cool because it's not always, when you're going through these mazes long enough, you get used to these type of scares, like the same scares, and they switched it up. So there were a few zombies in there that did that. And I was like, oh, that's pretty smart, because you're not expecting this type of scare, and they do that. So I thought in that particular section, I thought the characters actually were very creative in certain scares. So that's what I thought about it.
Now, I don't remember if this was the last scene or if this was a scene earlier, but this was the funhouse scene. I think this was actually the scene after the aliens. So
yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was earlier in the maze.
It was earlier in the maze. Now, this was honestly one of my favorite scenes, and this one, for anyone who's sensitive to strobe lights or epilepsy, like, this is not one for you, because there's literally an entire hallway where it's just strobe lights and you're trying to figure out your way out of it. And it even has, for those who get nauseous and whatnot, they have the spinning tunnel that you had to walk across, which was really fun. If Sammy was there, it would have been hilarious. Anyone knows, if you've seen our video on I Like Scary Movies, when Sammy had to go through that, it was by far the funniest thing I've ever filmed in my life. But nonetheless, this funhouse scene was really cool. Obviously, for me, I'm a huge Batman fan, and I'm a huge fan of the Batman Arkham series. So this was giving me some Mean Joker vibes. And if you've read or watched any other of the films, like Batman the Killing Joke, Joker takes over funhouses. A lot of the times in the cartoons and the comics, he always has like a funhouse lair. So this was giving me some mean, like, Joker vibes. I was hoping like Batman was going to come out of nowhere and whip some ass, but nonetheless, this was an amazing scene in the maze, and I really enjoyed going through like the funhouse aesthetics of things, and to see like the guy greet you and said if you're ready to go into the funhouse and everything, and then you go into the funhouse, and then you go into that strobe light room, and then you get out, and then you get a scare, and then you go into the spinning tunnel, and then you come out, and that's when you transition to the next room. What did you think about the funhouse section?
So this section, I think, brought the most smile to my face. It made me most happy in the most terrifying way. I thought that was really cool. The ticket taker, when you walk in there, he responded to you, kind of interacted with you for, a couple seconds, which I thought was really cool. I'm not always a huge fan of the characters interacting as far as like actually talking to you, but certain cases, I thought that this particular case, I thought it was really cool, him interacting with you. And now you're talking about that hallway, that strobe light lit hallway. And when I first went in, I think I was probably the third person to get in there. So when I got in, it was nothing. I call it, was white and strobe. I couldn't see anything. So I was walking through and just kind of like, I got down, and I was like, I didn't know how big if it was a huge room. I didn't know anything. So I was just like scared for my life that I was going to walk into a wall. And I actually did hit the wall because I didn't see the door to the right of me. So I hit the wall, and I was just like, oh man. And then like, I look over and I see the door with no fog or anything. So definitely an awesome.
Hold on. You're telling me this is the second time you almost broke a maze?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. That's what I was worried. I was worried about walking through like the wall, because I'm not a small guy. I mean, I'm a small guy, but I have a lot of weight to me. Yeah. So I was like, I didn't want to walk through a wall. So that's why I was just kind of like, and then it just so happened when I put my arms out like this, I ended up hitting the wall. And then as I hit the wall, I see the door to the right. So I'm like, okay, there's my exit. And so the funhouse area was really cool. I definitely get from Six Flags, they had this maze called the Jokesters, and it was pretty much a clown maze with all this type of stuff. And I'm gonna go back a few years, probably like closer to 8 years, 7 years ago, where the spinny tunnel thing. Anytime I see one of those tunnels, it reminds me of my dearly beloved wife in the other room. We went through this maze and I stopped. They had a tunnel like that, and I stopped, and I was just like gathering myself, like, all right, man, I don't want to cheat and close my eyes and walk through, because that takes away the fun. So let me gather my bearings and walk through. My wife, her being her, she's like, get out of the way. I'm going to do this. So she takes 2 steps and nearly falls over the railing and hits the railing so hard. She like goes over, and I have to grab her. So that always reminds me of that. She hates when I bring up that story. So I love telling
She's going to watch this video and just like slap you.
Yeah,
like, what was that for?
Like, don't ever talk about it again. But no, so anytime I see these tunnel things, it reminds me of that, and I love walking through them. Obviously, I hit the railing. I can't walk straight. It's crazy how much it messes with your equilibrium. So I walk through there. I love every minute of it. I want to like go back through again, but obviously I can't.
Right.
So, just go down and just reminisce on the good times of my wife hitting the railing, going through one of those things. So, but the fun house, the carnival kind of, clown area of this maze, like I said, it brought so much smile. It was like a happy fear to me walking through there.
Yeah, and obviously this was a very fun time. There's one room I know Sammy would have loved. It was a scene of the nun from The Conjuring. They had the painting there, and she actually popped out. I knew Sammy would love that, and I wish he was there to see that because, we all know Sammy loves the nun. Not really. Anyway, it would have been hilarious. But overall, dude, this maze, easily a 10 out of 10. This was something that we needed during the haunt season. And obviously they were supposed to do something in October, but they decided not to due to what was going on in the world with the pandemic. And, we got it in the halfway to Halloween, and it couldn't have come at a better time. It was only on for one weekend, Friday, Saturday, and they actually added Sunday due to popular demand. So it was for one weekend. It was well worth the trip. I know a lot of the haunt community, a lot of our haunt buddies went. A lot of the home haunters went. Corona Haunt, I know we went. Pirates Cave was there. Obviously, Logan and Rob were there representing Nights of Horror and Howling Hour. And I was there. I was there with a couple of the YouTubers. It was a very fun time, and honestly, I would love to film content for this thing if we as a Boo Bro or Nights of Horror, if we can do the Try Not to Get Scared challenge where we just have the GoPros at our face and we go in one at a time. If Reign of Terror would be nice enough to have us, I would so love to work with them. Obviously, promote this as much as I can. This, obviously, you could tell was made with love. These guys were probably at one point home haunters, and they came up and built their way to do one of the greatest longest mazes in Southern California, and I had such a blast. I would definitely go back again. If they do something else later this year, I am going to go back again. And I told the guys already, we got to connect and talk about it, because I definitely want to go back with the whole crew. We can go through together, kind of have a little Q&A after. It'd be really cool. But nonetheless, 10 out of 10 for me. Rob, what about you?
I'm going to echo you. 10 out of 10. I think this was much needed. I feel like stuff is starting to be more positive. Stuff is starting to kind of slowly get back to normal. And this was just something that to remind us of what's to come, and to remind us of not so much what we lost last year, but just to remind us, like, not to take these things, the things we enjoy, for granted. So I was happy they did it. This is, like I said, this is the first time I ever went to this, a Reign of Terror event. I had so much fun. I cannot wait to go with, the Boo Bros and the Nights of Horror, just the whole crew. I think we would have a blast. Yes. If Reign of Terror ever, let us, if we ever could reach out and work with them, ecstatic. I'd be so happy. They'd be honored to do it. The best way I could just describe this maze is a well worth it. Whatever the price is, it's worth it, because you see the detail, you see the love, as you were saying, and you just see the creativity of what they put into these mazes. And like I said before, at no point did I ever feel like something was just there just because it needed to fill dead space. Everything felt like it was there for a purpose. And I would just like to think, I had talked to someone who worked there, and they had let me go. I did have to pay for another ticket, but they let me go in. He was just like, it's your first time here. Just get the general admission, and I'll hook you up. We appreciate you guys coming out. And I spent like 20 minutes talking with this guy, and he was just like, hey, you know what? If you really want to go in that bad, buy a general ticket and I'll let you in. So I don't know his name. I didn't catch his name, but thank you so much. That just shows, the appreciation that the people at Reign of Terror have for us as much as we have for them. So thank you to Reign of Terror for putting on this event.
Yeah. I think a very affordable price, $30 yes. with tax and everything, for a 20 to 30 minute experience. Very good price. Much like Rob said, I would love to work with them in the future. And the staff was friendly. They were really nice. They were really cool. The scare actors were on point. They did their jobs. They did a phenomenal job. This is in no way an indie haunt. This is a pro level haunt. And I can't wait to see, again, much like Rob, this was my first time as well. I had never been to Reign of Terror. Sammy had always told me it was a good thing. It was a lot of fun. Sammy had been in the past and liked it. And I'm pretty sure if Sammy was with me on, the night I went, he would have had a blast too. But I had a great time. So thank you to Reign of Terror for putting on this event, and we can't wait to see what you come out next. And whatever they bring out next, we will either we will do a review, or if we build a good relationship with them, hopefully have footage, but you can depend on a review at the very least from us here at the Boo Bros. With that being said, thank you, Reign of Terror. We appreciate you. Thank you for putting on events like this, and we can't wait to see what's in the future. If you guys are new to our channel, obviously hit that subscribe button with that bell notification to be aware every time we put up a new video. Leave some comments down what you thought about Reign of Terror's halfway to Halloween event. And like this video because it helps us out a lot. Shows us that you guys enjoyed the video so we can make more videos like this. And Rob, what are we on social media?
We are on the Boo Bros Inc., where you can find us.
All across the board, Twitter and Instagram. Check us out. Follow us. We will keep you up to date with haunt news. We have polls. We're very interactive on our social medias. All of us are anyone you see on the Boo Bros pretty much goes on. They'll put their stuff on or whatever to share. So check us out, follow us, and you'll get the latest of up-to-date news with the Boo Bros and haunt events, theme parks, all that stuff. The fun part about this channel is all of us do everything. Haunt events, theme parks, horror, whatever it may be, we do it. Everyone, there's a channel for everyone on this channel. So if you guys like what you heard from me and Rob, consider checking out our channels. Rob is over at the Howling Hour, I'm over at the Nights of Horror, and Rob is on the Nights of Horror team as well. So go check us out. Also, Rob on the Fence movie reviews, so go check that out too. With all that being said, we really appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you guys in the next video.